ride faster than ever.
In this video, we're going to give you the tips and tricks to get you smashing them PBs and flying. Ew!
The obvious one is working on reducing your aerodynamic drag or spending a load of money on new biking kit. But there are some subtle things you can do to get you going faster than ever. Use the terrain to your advantage. Accelerate into the base of the climb and use the momentum to propel yourself up the climb. Obviously, this works better on shorter, punchier climbs.
Yeah, luckily here in the UK, we've got plenty of short, punchy climbs. One thing I would say, though, is make sure it's safe to do so when letting go of the brakes and carrying that little bit more speed into the base of the climb. So look out for gravel in a rough road surface, basically. But if you do get to use that momentum, it really will help you when you get onto the climb. Right, you ready? We need to go a bit faster now. Woo!
We're of course talking about through and off, sharing the workload on the front to increase the overall speed of your ride.
Yeah, so what we mean is spending less time on the front. Now, you can do this with two riders, but the more, the better. That means you can share the workload and ultimately spend less time on the front, meaning more recovery.
The important factor to remember is to not smash it on the front. You'll need to read the roads and the environmental conditions around you to get the most out of your through and off.
Yeah, so what we mean is if you're riding into a headwind, you can spend less time on the front, meaning more recovery. But if you're riding into a tailwind, that way you can press on that little bit longer. But do remember, when you get onto the back of the pace line, to save a little bit more energy, because it'll be harder to get on the back.
A smooth pace line is a fast pace line, so dose your effort out when you're on the front and don't accelerate too hard with the riders behind you. A good tip is, when you finish your turn, ease off for a second or two and allow the next rider to come through.
Yeah, you can also help from behind, so with the rider on their recovery phase, you can shout "last wheel." That way they know exactly where you are, meaning they can slot in without leaving a big gap and wasting a whole load of energy.
Corners are times when you need to take a little bit more consideration. Don't accelerate full gas out of a corner because the riders behind you will have to work twice as hard to stay on your wheel.
Yeah, same goes for hills, really. It's that elastic band effect. You can spend that little bit more time on the front when it comes to climbing, but when you crest the climb, carry on with your effort on the front until the whole group's on your wheel, meaning then you can swing off and get back on the back of the group. But don't do it too early because otherwise you'll spend a whole load of energy trying to get on when you're completely in the red. No one needs that. How you doing, Manon?
Yeah, good.
If you're in a country that you drive on the left-hand side of the road, then do a ride with only left turns. If you're in a country that drives on the right-hand side, then do a ride with only right turns, meaning you're going to spend less time at junctions, just like Manon and Lloyd did there. Now, this does take a bit of planning and preparation, but plan a loop that doesn't take in any congested areas or traffic lights, meaning no dead time, meaning you can keep on your way and keep that average speed nice and high. The wind. It can be an absolute force to be reckoned with and a cyclist's nightmare, or it could be the best thing that's ever happened to you. You do, though, need to get the forecast right. So what I'm saying is do a little planning and preparation before your ride. Check the forecast and make sure a good part of your ride is with a tailwind. A good trick is if you're heading out on a loop to go out with a headwind and on the way back have your tailwind when you haven't got so much energy in your legs, right? On that note, I'm going to check the weather. Yeah, not much wind today.
If you've got a headwind, choose some sheltered roads to ride on. But if you've got a tailwind, choose big open roads and make the most of the wind on your back. You could even sit upright and create a sail effect with your back. Your average speed will quickly be increasing before you know it. There are a lot of products out there that will claim to make you faster on a bike. Some of them have dubious science behind them, but there are a few out there that are genuinely performance enhancing. Caffeine, beta-alanine and carbs. Of course you'll get carbs from normal foods, but there is absolutely no doubt supplementing your ride with energy bars, drinks and gels will allow you to ride faster for longer.
Now, the pros are spending more and more time investigating drive chain efficiency. I mean, Ceramic Speed have even invented a whole new way to do the drive chain. But until that comes publicly available, we're going to stick to the traditional chainring, chain and sprockets.
But there is a lot to think about with them. Having the chain stretch one way or the other in the big ring and the big sprocket, or vice versa, is not only bad for the chain, it can also be a waste of watts.
Yeah, I mean, even the world's best time trialists are putting big dinner plates on the front. They're using 60 or 58 tooth chain rings on the front. Now, that's not because they're spinning out their biggest gear. That is because they want to get the straightest chain line possible to make it more efficient, saving watts. And we like saving watts.
At the end of the day, the thing that's going to increase your speed the most is by increasing your power. As long as you don't put any weight on, of course.
Yeah, talking of weight. Yeah, anyway, it's not going to really matter much if you're riding on flat roads, because, to be honest, power to weight doesn't really come into it. But there's no shortcuts to getting power. It takes training and it takes pushing yourself. Then again, if you've got a good training program, you get good adequate rest, then you will see your speed go up. We decided to get a bit geeky on this one and head over to a website called bikecalculator.com. So a 70 kilogram rider on a 9 kilogram bike putting out 200 watts on a flat road with no wind near sea level should do around 31.76 kilometers per hour. Increase that by 10% to 220 watts, and that same rider in those same conditions will do 32.93 kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, though, that's only 3.7% improvement in speed for your 10% increase in power. But nevertheless, you're going faster.
Yeah, there's a reason the pros are better than us.
Why is that?
Got more power than everyone else.
Not than me.
Definitely more than you.
Yeah, true.
Thanks for watching. Hope this video helps you go faster than ever.
Yeah, to be fair, I could deploy some of those tricks on our ride back home just to keep up with you. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure, as always, you give it a big thumbs up. And I know you're hungry for another video, so why don't you click on screen now. Right, you ready to get home?
Ready. Race
right.
you.
What, race me? Already?